This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
But here's what we're really here to talk about. Mike and Gil are armed for action.
Yo.
Okay. Yo, homie. What's your Mike on the radio? And James is back.
Yeah.
He's kicking a cold's ass.
Yeah, I hope so. You know.
You are.
Yeah.
All right, so we were talking about all kinds of comedians on one of our many different roundtable chats, and I was like, yeah, we talked so much about these characters. These guys like deserve their own chapter. I don't see many people talking about like radio people. I see people talking about history or pop culture, but not like dedicating a whole episode to like a unusual set of comedians, unless they're like a tribute to stand-up guys. So I was like, yeah, we could talk about like the kings of prank calls in the 90s.
I didn't know they got their start on the Howard Stern show, actually.
That was a good refresher. So you'll love this, James. Kind of like Howard Stern, they kind of did the did you ever go to the Realm of Darkness website?
No.
So kind of when Albino Black Sheep and Newgrounds were kind of becoming a thing with Flash games and other funny stuff, like that was the key. Realm of Darkness was like in the mid 2000s to 2010s, like the king of prank phone calls. And much like Howard Stern, they would take Jerky Boys like audio and like have it like make their own soundboards. So it's like a prank call of a prank call.
Oh, like Foundry used to do on the
Foundry
Opie
would do
show.
that. Yeah. And but it wasn't uncommon. If you weren't getting prank called on that website, and admins would upload hysterical calls they had recorded, everything from Jack Black to Schwarzenegger to Joe Pesci, all kinds of other celebrity and characters. But yeah, I would see people use the George Takei soundboard from Howard Stern as well as the Jerky Boys characters, and it was just like I was like, and I think it helped that they did that infamous movie in the 90s because it was a cult hit. And it wasn't quite there, and Alan Arkin was phoning in. But, I mean, it kind of made people aware, hey, these guys are a thing. And, I mean, let's be honest. When a movie makes Roger Ebert's Worst of the Year list, people want to see it. You know?
Yeah. I heard those tapes, I think, in 91, 92, before they hit it big, because it was a thing among musicians to have like certain tapes that were passed around, like, you know, the infamous Orson Welles outtakes and the two bar takes with the two guys prank calling Red Deutsch. You know, that
was a fun refresher, especially just because you can tell everyone they're picking is just people who not only don't want their time wasted, no one does, but like people who's like, it doesn't take much to really rupture. What's the
rub someone the wrong way?
Well, wrong way, but rough their feathers. You know, it's just
ruffle their feathers a little. Yeah.
It's just like, man, you could not have called the most angry laundromat or restaurant owner.
But the thing was that the tapes were these tapes were being circulated all over the place, and somebody at Detonator Records got them.
Oh,
and was like,
go
ahead.
I was just going to say, were these tapes, circulating around before they released? I mean, because their CD was released in '93.
Yeah, these were around before then. These were like a couple of years because people it was like this underground thing where people would hear these tapes and start cracking up hysterically.
Thing, let me give it to my coworker.
I mean,
bring it back the next day.
It was like my sister. I went up to my sister's, I think on a Christmas Day or the day after Christmas or something like that. We went up to visit her, and she's like, "You got to hear these two guys, the jerk. They're these guys. I don't know what." She's like, "I don't know. I don't remember what she said." But she said, "These guys are fucking phenomenal. You'll laugh your ass off." So she played the Brett, the Brett Weir one. Where, hello, good evening. The Brett Weir one. She played Saul's glasses, where Saul Rosenberg has to go to the World Trade Center to get his glasses fixed. I'll have all my shoes and glasses, so I have them then. And then she played, I think it was Uncle Freddie, which was the one where the guy calls up, Uncle Freddie died. Uncle Freddie died. Oh,
Yeah.
look, Uncle Freddie died. And my mom, I remember my mother and my father and me were hysterical laughing because it was just, and then she had the tube bar tapes.
Yes.
Which were the two guys calling up the tube bar in Jersey City. And I was trying to figure out where it was at some point. And
people have also done that because of the different names released. They've tried to actually go up and figure out who was who.
Well,
I had the first two Jerky Boys CDs.
Yeah, the first two were just, they were just hilarious. You'd start saying like, hey, tough guy, you got me that chisel chest, you'd start saying shit.
Did you guys follow the Roy Mercer act? He was a character created by disc jockeys Brent Douglas and Phil Stone in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And
okay.
It was just that was around. They started in '97, so yeah, that was kind of piggybacking off of the Jerky Boys, who, again, like you say, hit it big at the start of the '90s. Tom Mabey was another guy from Kentucky who became a YouTuber and prankster, and Howard Stern, Richard and Sal definitely continued the whole thing, and then you got the show Crank Yankers, which, was always wacky. It's like, here it's puppets.
Well, I was listening to some YouTube and I went ahead and bought, since I don't have a Jerky Boy CD anymore, I went ahead and bought the all-time greatest hits one. And I got to tell you, I don't think I've ever heard the words assy nipple used anywhere else.
Ass neck and
yep, all their little combo words. Yep.
It is funny how they're the nicest people.
Step on piss clams,
Yep.
Not nice people on the planet, but you would never know how naughty they are, unless you work with them.
And it got me thinking about Crank Yankers, so I bought a season of it tonight as well.
Oh, sweet.
I think John Brennan was on Crank Yankers for some reason.
I wouldn't doubt it, especially if he was on Family Guy as using that Saul Rosenberg type character. Although, was he called Saul Rosenberg on Family Guy?
It's Mort Goldman.
Mort, okay.
But the bartender of the clam was based on because there was like 5 characters that they had on the Jerky Boys tapes. There was John Brennan's was Mike Aruki, or Frank Rizzo. Frank Rizzo, RIZZO. Open your ears, jackass.
Yeah.
Saul Rosenberg. Jack Torse, who was a gay model, hard hat, Yes, I know for pulling large pieces of furniture out of my ass. And then he had like a couple of other guys that were on the later tapes. And then Kamal had the guy who was with him had Tarbash, the Egyptian magician. And then he had
and for those who it consisted of both for those who don't know, Kamal Ahmad and Johnny Brennan, and both childhood buddies from Queens. And I did see how Brennan said in a 2014 Rolling Stone interview how his material apparently was reportedly inspired director Paul Feig, not only McFarlane, who used him on Family Guy, but also Amy Schumer. And he apparently started it back in the late 70s. Like, he would lie on the floor of his middle-class parents' living room in Queens and just hold the phone receiver close to a clunky tape recorder with the lights turned down and start dialing. And he actually described it as, it's like meditation. If my eyes aren't distracted, I can see where the call is going to go.
he had this thing, and I've always said, like, I feel bad. Like, there was another tape that came out at that time called the Musacha tapes, which nobody really knows about. And it was
Yeah, I
kind
haven't
of
heard of
like
that one.
it's
Was that
kind of
much
like
later?
yeah, it was like that whole year 93, 94, 95 was like prank call tapes came out the wazoo. So yeah, it was like okay, you had right at the two bar, which was the granddaddy, and then you had these two guys doing these calls that would be, and the thing was it was all these it was underground tapes. It was people just passing this shit along, going, "Hey, you got to hear this. You got to hear this. You got to hear this." I think the best call I ever heard was the Brett Weir call when he says, he goes, "Good evening. Can I help you?" Yeah, let me speak to Brett Weir. He's upstairs fixing something. Can I take a message? Yeah, this is the super across the way. And I'm really angry at that little jerk. Now, he knows what he's doing now. I'm going to come over there and break his fucking head. I'll tell him, super across the way? Yeah, don't have me come there for you either, tough guy. You tell him to see me. Super across the way? You got it, punk! Just this violent,
That's
So
just
that's
it. They would get the most off-color people, but I think that's just it because we're in on the act. We didn't feel harmed or anything, and it's like, well, see, and that same Rolling Stone article did, I think, describe them best. Is like they are what Steve Jobs and the company are to computing. Is like they didn't come up with the idea that brought them success, but they basically perfected it. And it's like, yeah, they
yeah.
and he had a great reason, which was basically is just like I wasn't feeling it anymore. So that's why he just stopped it after a while. And it's like, that's probably the best way to do it instead of embarrass yourself or, and the last thing you want to do when you do a prank call is get caught. So, but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, so the Frank Rizzo, yeah, was a blue collar man, all about town, coming up with, again, the ass neck and liver lips and sizzled chest insults.
I
And then
told you 10 liver lips. Talk to me, Chief. When can I talk about pay?
he
I'll bring my
based
whole I'll fucking weld my fucking head to the fucking floor if you want me to. I mean, there was
Sam
just so many
Jackson
things
has
like
competition here. But yeah, Saul Rosenberg was basically a Woody Allen caricature with an anal warts
oh,
obsession.
hello, oh, hi. Yeah, I can't see so good. I want to. Yeah, I want to bring my shoes and my glasses, though I have them. Then, okay, yeah, Mr. Rosenberg. Yeah, do you have your
And
glasses? Sure.
and
Are you
Jack
ready for to make an appointment? Yeah. Okay. When do you want to make an appointment? I don't know. 38 250th Street. No, it's 33 25th Street. Okay. What time? 4 o'clock. Okay, 5 o'clock. No, 4 o'clock, Mr. Rosenberg. I mean, it keeps fucking up the whole thing. I mean,
he
I was,
apparently based both Frank off his dad and Saul off his mother.
yeah.
And
And
Jack Torres was just a random sexual deviant who pulls furniture out of his butt. And
yes, they didn't like what I was doing. I used to soak myself in lamp oil, put myself on fire. The crowd seemed to love this. I used to do little tricks, trinkets, and whatnot. I mean, oh God, I mean, you can't play that today.
When you think about the
no,
voices they used, you'd have to think that the people on the other end were sitting there going, "This is a prank phone call."
No, a lot of them they would get
a lot of them were
stuff.
that arrogant. And Seth MacFarlane did say that he described him as a Jackie Gleason set of characters where they clearly come from a place in his life, and that's why,
Yeah,
other than just being a funny voice, they came from an honest place, and that's why it was so easy for him to roll into any situation and stay in character. And I
I mean,
mean, if he hadn't come around, someone else would have come around. But I think that's just it. I think he was the one. He and Ahmad knew just when to roll into town and then just shut it down without actually
So,
physically hurting anybody.
so Howard Stern got a hold of those tapes then, probably, and that's how they became famous, is because Howard
yeah,
Stern
It
found
gave
the
them
tapes.
definitely a boost. They went from underground to basically now they're the talk of the town. Who they gonna prank next?
and the thing was back then you could do this shit because you had a thing.
You couldn't trace it.
You
You
couldn't
couldn't.
call back. They
Right.
couldn't trace it. They had a thing. I think Brennan had a thing where they if you called, the number wouldn't show up, so you couldn't trace it back. But what happened was that the Village Voice, they'd all see all these ads in the Village Voice for shit, right?
Mhm.
So they would like call up the Village Voice. They'd be like, "Oh, plumber needed. Let's do something for a guy who wants to be a plumber."
Yes.
Or let's do something, flowers or something like that, or let's just pull this out, or let's pull that. I mean, they would just come up with these ideas on the fly, which was great. You would just start
And to
picturing
go
these calls in your head.
right,
You know,
and you're like, I wonder how crusty or stuck up this guy being pranked is on the other end. And to Gil's point, yeah, apparently Ahmed was the main guy who came up with the idea. Is like, let's pass it out within the as let's pass out tape copies to the music community and people
yeah,
who come by our club, and they loved it before they even called them the so-called Jerky Boys. And apparently Brennan's mom came up with that name.
there was a guy named Brett Weir, Johnny Brennan. I was friends with him on Facebook.
Nice.
Brett Weir was a real guy. He was his next door neighbor.
Oh, that's great. Apparently,
So-
Brennan can do all the characters by heart, while Ahmed has joked, I've gone on to do meaningful indie movies. I don't do that shit anymore. It's all good.
Yeah.
Keep the art. He's too close to it.
Was there a time when it kind of wore off for you guys? I mean, I listened to the first two CDs. And
Since I was so after the fact, I think much like I do any comedy, I just pretty much kind of like how you can pause a movie and split it up over the course of 2 days. I kind of just would I just would split it up, just like do an hour a day and then move on to the next funny thing. And
Yeah,
I think that's where we are in the YouTube generation, or Spotify, is like, just do a bit of it, and then when you get sick of it, come back to it tomorrow.
Well, and I guess the YouTube would be the perfect place for them, because I did re-listen to some stuff I listened to on the CDs on YouTube, and they were cut up into their little segments. The 2 minutes for this, it wasn't all like one run of calls on the CD.
Absolutely. Scott Ackerman, host of Comedy Bang Bang, both the podcast and IFC show, said that I think he summed it up best. Is like, the Jerky Boys transcended messing around with someone, like, because again, people in the other end of the line don't realize they're in the middle of a sketch. And my local radio stations have done their share of prank calls. 92.5 KZPS in Dallas, Texas had the Bo and Jim show would do the most funny just prank calls. Like, and it was always ones where the husband was in on the joke, and they were pranking their wife, who wasn't so flattered, and was like, let's talk about those divorce papers. It was funny, but and they would do other pranks like, can I talk to dumbass? And someone on the other end of the line would always go, which one?
Yeah, I think sometimes radio stations, it was kind of like forced with radio stations. Like, the humor's
Unfortunately, for the most
forced there.
part.
Yeah. When it
Kinda
came to
like,
this was
we were joking about sitcoms where they have even though they have a real audience, they can't help themselves, just for production value. They keep adding extra non-authentic laughs, which kind of compromises the whole point. So it's like,
but I mean, here in New Jersey, we had Z100 with the morning zoo would call up, and I'd be like, that's not funny, that's stupid. And I'd be like, you want to listen to the real thing? Here, we'll put on this. I remember one time I had the original. I think my sister gave me a cassette of the 2 bar tapes, and I had those. I had those when I was in high school.
High school, okay.
So I would do Red Deutsch for everybody in class. I'd be like, yeah, because if you listen to the 2 bar tapes, Matt Groening heard those and got the idea for Bart calling up Moe's Tavern with Amanda hug and kiss, and Mo screaming back, if I ever find you, you little, I'm gonna come up and cut your ears off.
Well, I'm trying to.
It's always so vicious, like you say. You're like, good grief. Yeah. And so I think that's just it too. Like, the jackasses on the other line, you're like, I don't really feel sorry that they pranked him. Like, they must have just asked around. It's like, who's the most stuck up guy you can think of? Oh, the one guy who owns the Chinese restaurant. Oh, the one guy who owns the the mom and pop store, the liquor store. It's always just someone who you're like, man, the motor mouth on that guy. So apparently Ahmed and Brennan did kind of have a falling out, and it apparently got so bad it's exaggerated a bit. They just weren't on speaking terms. They just were kind of sick of the whole shtick. They didn't like how the movie had turned out. They apparently both appeared. I have not seen it. I did not realize that until I researched it today. Apparently, the infamous band Insane Clown Posse made a movie. Why? I don't know. But it was called Big Money Hustlers in 2000, and both Ahmed and Brennan were in it. But it was just they weren't on speaking terms, so they were like, "We'll do the cameo, but we can't be in the same scene together."
Yeah, one had kind of a part that was running through the movie, and the other one was a cameo. Can't remember.
Right. And Ahmed apparently did do a solo album, and Brennan kept doing the Jerky Boys thing because he's like, okay, well, we're going our separate ways, but I can still do this in my sleep. So
we'll return after these messages.
If you like small town mystery, crazy news, and wild history, then the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast is for you. Each week, Josh Mills and Wayne McCarty bring you the absolute best Florida has to offer. So if you're looking for a show that's safe for the family, but funny enough to help you escape everyday life, then listen to the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast. That's Florida Men, plural, on Florida Man podcast.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, "Give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win." On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast recs and booty debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
Brennan's now on Family Guy doing one of the most beloved characters on that show. Mort Goldman's a fucking hilarious character, you know.
Does he still make, I mean, it's been a while since I've watched Family Guy. Does he still make regular appearances on the show?
Yeah, he'll be on there, yeah, you know.
So for those who don't know, he's the one dorky guy with glasses.
They know the acid, you know.
The Jewish guy who owns the pharmacy, yeah.
I mean, I was like, if you guys ever get the Tube Bar tapes,
I have.
This was hilarious. I was reading about it one time. Steve Sachs, who played for the Los Angeles Dodgers, could do the whole friggin' thing verbatim with the Tube Bar tapes. Yeah, let me speak to Pepperoni. Pepperoni! Pepperoni here! Pepperoni! No, there's nobody about that name. All right, thank you. You know, I can remember. I heard that you know that tape so many times, and then they put it out, and then they had like these other little calls that were done, I think maybe by the same guys, but the Tube Bar tapes were just, you know, towards the end he's Red Deutsch, who was a ex-boxer, who was like 6'5" and 280, and had get hands like hams, you know, and he was like, you know, well, come over there, I'll cut your fucking balls off, you son of a bitch.
Right. They're always like low life guys.
Yeah, and they're like, come on, you motherfucker. Yeah, you want me to fucking come over there? Come over there. You know, like he finds them out and starts threatening him, you know.
Did they ever get stalked by anybody, or was it always just kind of like,
no.
Because he didn't break character, they're like, hey, wise guy, I'll never guess, you know? I think it helps that no one speaks like that, so it's just like, yeah, good luck picking me out. You don't even know what I look like.
Some of the characters, I mean, like Frank Rizzo's at the top of the list. Saul Rosenberg,
yeah.
Tarbash, the Egyptian magician,
yeah.
Al Kamal,
yeah,
Torres,
Jack Torres, yeah.
Apparently, Ahmed did do the Japanese sushi chef, and you definitely couldn't get him to do that nowadays.
Frank Kissel,
yeah. My name's Kissel. Will you come over to fix my sink?
Right. It's just, and I think that's it. Like any comedy routine, it's always just the most bizarre thing anyone could ever do, and it's like, yeah, has that? It makes you even want to interview some of these guys who got prank called. Is like, how many crazy people or phone calls do you get a night, and how do you even respond to any of this? You know?
I just think Frank Kissel's one of my favorite ones. He's like, yeah, I got a guy his name is Pico, and I want you to put a hairpiece on him. He looks a little bull, and like all of a sudden, John Brennan comes and goes, hello? He's like, my name Pico. You're going to put a hairpiece on my head? what are you gonna do, a weave or something like that? He's like, shut up, go. He's like, so go through the penis. Hey, you're telling me to put a weave on my head. Shut up, or I go over there and beat you one, all right? I don't want you talking to him anymore.
Oh
I mean,
my
it's just,
God.
it's like, you get a mental picture of these people in your head, what they might look like.
Yeah.
And Frank Kissel's just fucking, Frank Kissel's the one who says, yeah, let me put my son Anthony on.
Well,
Hello? Yeah. Uncle Freddie. Uncle Freddie? No, I'm not Uncle Freddie. Uncle Freddie died.
oh yeah, that's
Uncle
right.
Freddie died. Oh, God. Oh,
He's described as an aged World War II veteran,
yeah.
an ex-singer who uses a wheelchair.
There's one call that they made later where he says he went to Disneyland, like Frank Rizzo went to Disneyland, and his kid got assaulted by Mickey Mouse.
Oh my God.
And everybody's going around going, nibbles. I'm trying to get my kid out of the water. The mouse is coming up on him, rubbing on him and all that stuff. He's like, sir, that did not happen. Yeah, you tell me about that. Get that mouse. I'll beat the freaking crap out of him, Oh, it's just,
Well, so in that case, kind of like my hats are always off to someone who goes to the loudspeaker and starts putting on a song at the
Yeah.
Walmart, like the Rickroll people as they're checking out. My hat would be off if someone who actually worked at Disney somehow like put that on the loudspeaker, and people would be like, "Who's doing that?"
I just wanted to be like, look, Jerky, you got problems with your phone? Why the fuck did you buy it in the first place? Ass neck,
Ass neck. That's just it. Just like it kind of just also reminds you on how the whole like if you're the whole point of an insult is it really isn't supposed to mean anything. It's just supposed to be stupid. Just the name.
It's just, I've tried to figure it out, like why it was so popular, and I think was that
It's hard to kind of pin down. It's just kind of
Well,
right place, right time.
you
If
think
you did
about-
it nowadays, people would track you and call you a terrorist.
You think about when you were kids and trying to do these prank phone calls, you didn't do anything so inventive.
No,
But you kind of like listen to this, go, man, I wish I would have done that.
It takes an inventive mind, and that's the great thing about those two guys. They were inventive.
Yeah.
They didn't like do like, I can remember my friend Randy doing a prank call one time to a Chinese restaurant, and it was just like, dude, you don't know how to do this. I'm like, I could play you the Jerky Boys, and they could school you on what to do. I mean, because he was calling this Chinese place. He's like, I got cat in my Chinese food, and he's like, what do you? And the guy's like, what do you mean you got cat? He's like, I got cat in my Chinese food. I found a cat claw in my Chinese food, and I'm like, dude, you recorded this? He's like, yeah, I had the loudspeaker on in my house. And his dad was a cop, so they had that thing where you couldn't dial back, And he's like, he just started, and it got to be just so stupid. I was like, dude, you're not the Jerky Boys. You're not. You're terrible.
I did see some imitators, and I had my share of that, especially when Realm of Darkness was doing that, where it's like, okay, it's clearly your friend on the other end of the line. Any other person would have hung up in that time and place.
Yeah. All right, CZO, open your ears, jackass. I got 300 feet of ceramic tile. Now, half these things are fucking busted. What was it? It was kind of a tan, sandalwood, whatever the fuck you guys call that bullshit. Well, here's a problem, Jerky. I work for Moist. I work for. I'll drive those fucking trucks as fast as I can. I mean, that's what I love. I love when he just jumps off of something. Like he says, how much do you bet? I bet you at least 400 pounds. 400 pieces? No, pounds, baby, pounds. How long you have experience with, we're talking 10, 15, 20 years,
Jocko Johnson?
Yep. Same
voice kind of as Frank Rizzo, kind of.
No, it was the same voice as the other guy, the Kissel.
Oh, it was just Frank Rizzo on here, but
rhymes with Piss off.
Jocko.
I'm just kidding.
Jocko John. Yeah, this is Jocko Johnson. Now I want you to tear my fucking house down, so my wife comes up, she'll be fucking surprised. He goes, "You like hot dogs? You like hot dogs, sweetie? You good with your fingers?" He's trying to get a little.
God.
And then it lists other minor characters. Big old badass Bob the cattle rustler.
I heard that one.
I did. I think the reason that one works is just the build up. Like, he keeps you in suspense with that particular one, aside from just getting the hickish voice down.
And Sammy Cox, older man with a pronounced lisp.
Yes.
Oh God, I gotta hear that one. Oh God, Yeah, Sparky the Clown, how are you? Yeah. You the piano tuner? Yeah, the button nut. Listen, my dog's trapped in the fucking piano. Yeah, well, he's there, he's biting, he's snapping, I don't know what to do. He says, you want me to get a dog out of piano? What kind of a dog is he? He's a Rottweiler. What the? No, I can't do that. All right, hey, thanks for the help, buddy.
And it does mention Brett Weir at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, Brett Weir was... And the thing that gets me the most is, like, those albums are, like, they're RIAA, like, certified and shit now. Because they went, like, 5 million copies or something. I remember that came out, and everybody was going, like... Everybody in my school was going... Oh, I can't stand them. I can't stand. I was like, it's a fucking prank phone call tape. Just, it's not Adam Sandler.
I'll give him credit for how he recorded it back in the day, especially when it was raw. There was no take two,
No. No, there wasn't.
Well, there was some brief moments on those where they weren't on the phone very long because the person immediately hung up on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. Oh, and so that does also make me wonder how long. I'm sure he probably did it like for 2 hours straight, and then said that's rusty. I gotta, rest my vocal cords and try again another day. And I'm sure, especially if you're gonna pay people to record it and all that, it's like, yeah, you gotta do it in increments, and then when you're not feeling the funny anymore, hang up. And
I think the one thing that gets me was when they did the MTV interview on the Jon Stewart show, and they came on and they had the masks on with the happy faces, and he's like, oh, you guys want to make a prank phone call? He's like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that here. We could, but we're not going to. But that album came out, and like I can remember, like, I got it. My friend taped it off of me. His friend taped it off of him. And it was like, also like we were all going like, hey, Jerky, what's going on there, Jerky? Hey, ass neck, hey, Sizzle Chest, what's up?
Oh my God.
I think, yeah, because it came out like the album came out my senior year, and I was like, they finally put an album out of this? Holy shit, I gotta buy it. And I bought it. I ran to the record store and I bought it. And I was in hysterics, and I was just going, hey, Jerky, what's the problem here, buddy?
So how old were you then?
I was 18.
Okay. Yeah, I was in my mid-20s or so by then.
Yeah. And all of a sudden there was like 4 or 5 cassettes coming out. I think the last one they did was Stop Staring at Me, which was, I think, the last one they did for the call, but it was just Brennan. That was it. It was nobody else. Yes,
Nice.
They did the Jerky tapes in 2001.
All right. So I gotta find those.
Or he did,
yeah. He made a bundle off of those, John Brennan, man.
Well, and kudos to it, because like that's self-earned fame. That's not something you can learn in school.
No. Yeah.
Does anyone ever know what his actual like profession was? Like that he was studying? Was he a high school dropout and then said?
No, I don't think he was. Hold on, let me look.
I should have done that before we did this, but it is interesting how he's just kind of. Again, I can applaud anybody for self-made fame and fortune. Like that's. You get good at something and then you market it, and then
you make money off of making prank phone calls. That was kind of a new thing.
Yeah. and then people like you and say we're going to cast you in all our comedy movies and shows.
Does anybody know what the specifics were of their breakup? I know they started not liking each other, but I didn't know why.
I just heard it was just a lot of tension between the two of them, you know.
Yeah, it's like Ahmed just wasn't liking where it was going, and Brennan was like, "I'll take it," you know. And I do see a lot. I definitely, much like Opie and Anthony and Howard Stern, I think they are definitely beloved in New Jersey. Like, I'm sure they would get recognized on the street, and they consider that like. In fact, I even talked to a few other people. And they're like, "What are you recording this week?" I'm like, "Oh, Jerky Boys." Are like, "Oh, that's my jam." Now you're talking.
It was because of the movie. When the movie was going on, when they were making the movie, there was tensions.
The movie was released pretty quickly after their CDs came out.
Yeah, 95? 95, yeah, 95, yeah. Shit, yeah, I remember I went to go see that on a Sunday afternoon. It was like $7. I went to go see the Jerky Boys movie.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think. I didn't get a chance to see the movie. I mean, I not one for renting, and the price they wanted for it was like $18 or something like that. So I'm like, nah, I'm not going to pay that much for it. So I just looked at the clip they gave, which was not a trailer; it was just a clip, and I recognized the guy from Frankenhooker.
Yeah,
was in it.
Yeah, and Alan Arkin, William Hickey is in it.
Yep.
You know, that's all. Like, you know, it's just Ozzy Osbourne's in it. That's the only thing I know. You know, it was just a quick. It felt like it was just put together. You know, like give them a movie. You know, while strike while the iron is hot. You know.
Well, I was thinking, just looking at that clip, like you said, Alan Arkin. I did see him in a scene too, but you got Alan Arkin, you got some other people that are kind of name actors in a way, and then you got this guy from Frankenhooker.
Yeah, I think Vincent Pastore's in it. The guy from The Sopranos is in it too. Big Pussy's in it.
Oh yeah, that's right, Vincent Pastore.
Yeah.
He just has that intimidating face. That's all we know him as. That's all he can play.
But like that movie came out. I remember that movie came out. I'm like one of 5 people in the movie theater.
Yeah, it was not.
I'm like, what the? And like the next week, I went to go see the Brady Bunch movie.
So there you go. It's like the 90s were getting kind of like prank calls. Then got oversaturated. Movies based on pre-existing properties were also kind of being overblown. So I think that's just it.
Yeah,
They filmed it and completed it in '93. It sat on the shelf. Then they changed distributors, and Touchstone released it in '95. And it was.
Can you tell me the plot of that movie?
They go around.
What happens is that
who happen to be mobsters. Yeah,
they prank call some guy, and they find out Brett Weir. The guy Brett Weir is actually like in the mob. So I forgot what it was, but like, you know,
Alan Arkin's the main guy,
and they get fucking, like, you know, they get chased around, and you know, at one point, you know, it was just I don't even remember the plot. It was just like
it was just random.
It was just random shit, and I'm like, what the?
I wouldn't be surprised if they greenlit it, but there wasn't any script. You know. I think it was a music video director or something like that. I have heard people talk about the special features that used to play on the old tape, and they joked how like Alan Arkin was like, "Yeah, I know who they are." I'm like, I doubt he knew who they were before he signed on to that.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did know. If he did know,
if he did,
okay, so was he? If he was a regular New Yorker or something, I'm pretty sure he probably
maybe
heard of him.
Yeah,
it didn't seem convincing. Maybe he was being honest.
Yeah.
He knows him now.
Jesus God, I just, you know, I'm looking at the plot. It's like, what the? I don't know what the fuck is the plot here. All I know at the ending is they prank call the White House. You know. Yeah.
But yeah, they went around just like impersonating a Chicago mobster. It's like,
Well, and I'm wondering, and on Crank Anchors, I mean, I just bought a season tonight, and I haven't heard it for years. But did either one of them do voices on that, or do we know?
I couldn't find him.
Keep thinking that.
I know Adam Carolla did, but yeah, I'm okay.
Let me see. I keep thinking Brennan was on it for some reason. Hold on, let me look.
Yeah.
Family Guy, no.
Couldn't find any.
No, he wasn't on there. I thought he was, but he's not.
He should have been. They should have had a special thanks at least.
Well, you talked about the guy from the Man Show just a second ago. I can't think of his name. Carolla. Okay, yeah. And he was doing a voice. I remember, like, it seemed like he was doing the voice of a veteran, kind of like Rizzo.
Yeah,
kind of.
I mean, he didn't sound like Rizzo, but he was playing that type of character.
Some kind of, yeah.
I used to laugh my ass off because every time he'd do Frank Rizzo, it was like he always reminded me of somebody angry who was in my family. Hey, where are you going?
That's why people relate. They're like, yeah, this reminds me of my one stuck up.
Oh, that's my Uncle Tim.
That's my Uncle Vito. He's
that's my granddad. Don't set him off.
I told you not to touch the guns, asshole. I didn't touch the guns. No, put your fucking finger. Want to blow off your finger? Blow off your fucking finger. Jesus Christ.
Oh man.
Yeah. You all right? Yeah, I was. Yeah, so
we won't be all right once they prank call us. But see, if they ever prank call us, that would be like kind of a blessing. You're just like, yeah.
I wish I could get Brennan. I follow him on Instagram now. I think he got rid of his Facebook page, but he was really cool. I was like, so this is what he said. He's made his money off of the Jerky Boys, but
right?
Kamal, you don't hear from anymore. Kamal's like,
I think Kamal wasn't ready for all the fame. And
I thought I heard him get. I thought he was heard that he was getting into some sort of like maybe directing or something like that.
Yeah, it's just it. Yeah, like I think that's just it. Like this was a character he wanted to play for a bit, but not all his lifetime. It's like, okay, done with that. Going on to the next thing.
Yeah, and it's like I can remember them doing the Bud Light commercials, and they did stuff for MTV. And then that was it. They just disappeared.
Well, I know, like mid 2010s or something like that. He did a podcast, but it only lasted like 17 episodes.
Right?
I can't remember
Brennan or Kamal.
Brennan.
Oh, okay.
And I can't remember what it was called, but I'm sure it had something about Jerky Boys in the title.
Yeah. I just remember. I remember those first two records, and then I kind of dropped out of it, and then they were like, I was like going through a record store one day with my fiance at the time, and she's like, "Oh, look, Jay, it's Jerky Boys." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
You found your magic button.
Yeah.
So she was familiar with the Jerky Boys too.
She didn't like them.
But she acknowledged that you did.
She didn't like anything that was prank call. Like I played her the 2-bar tapes, right? She's like, well, I don't think that's funny. I said, don't you watch The Simpsons? She's like, yeah. I said, that's where Bart and Moe comes from,
Right.
And the guy, and she's like, what's so funny about a guy threatening another guy? I said, you don't get it. It's like, it's funny because the guy's reaction is, gauged through what they're telling him, like, when he says, I'm going to come over there and cut the Z's out of both the chicks. And what people don't realize is that there was a film done with Lawrence Tierney in it where they did the phone call, and it's like shot for shot, like he's taking the call and he's yelling over the phone at the guy, and they did it like that, But there's like a 2, maybe 3-hour tape or set of all the calls that were done and the stuff that was not done that wasn't released on the original cassette or vinyl back then.
Nice.
Of Red at the 2-bar. Yeah. Hold on, let me look this up here. Yeah. The 2-bar tapes are just,
they write themselves.
They're the granddaddy of all the
things that followed.
Basically.
Yeah.
So they're more rough. They're more rough and ready.
They're rough. It was two guys, Jim Davidson and John Elmo, and they worked for a record company, from what I can remember. And they are like, they lived in this place, and they'd come home from the city. I think they worked for Scotty Brothers. Remember them, Scotty Brothers Records?
Yes, well, and
Yeah.
that's what I found so funny about the Weird Al story, is just how they parodied them, having Will Forte and Weird Al portray them. You'll never be famous.
And what happens is that they would call up, and they would just call this guy up, and he had a bar in Journal Square, and it was this bar. It was an old man bar, but he would they were walking by there, and they saw him throw somebody out one time, and he had this gruff voice, he smoked 50 Marlboros a day or something like that. And he was this ex-boxer, and he was just they would call him up, and they'd be like, he'd be like, Tuba. He'd be like, yeah, I'm looking for Hal. Hal who? How'd you like a kick? How'd you like a kick? I'm looking for how'd you like a kick? He's not in. How'd you like me come over and kick your ass? Well, you fucking bum. I'll come over there, I'll fucking rip your goddamn guts out and pour the black stuff down your throat, you motherfucking cocksucker, because I know who you are. Your friends gave you away. I mean, it's just this,
This is let's take the most disgusting character and make him quotable.
It goes from innocent prank fun, ha-ha calls to he's going to come after them and beat the shit out of them. But then I find out later, they actually would go to the bar and they would not say anything. They'd just be like, okay, we'll get beer and then we'll just split, And they were looking at him and going, that guy could kill us easily. He's like, yeah, don't worry about it though, just
he'll never know. I wonder if any of those assholes ever listened to that and said, hey, wait a second, that's me. That'd be great.
Well, you hear one part, you hear a football game going on, and it's Pat Summerall, so they had CBS, CBS NFL and CBS on that day.
Oh, shiz.
So,
how many of the fans do you think are actual jerks?
Huh?
You mean how many of them might have actually tried to do that?
Actual jerks. I'm funning. Think about it, man.
They're jerkies.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's the official name. There you go. Are you a jerky, man? Not sure how to respond to that. Yeah.
Don't be jerky.
Don't jerk.
Don't be a jerky.
Mike, have you ever had any crazy prank phone call encounters? Let alone college comedians who kind of went big.
No, not really. No.
You never tried doing prank calls on the show?
No.
We're tempted.
I'm trying to think. No.
I did a few, but since I can't live with a lie, I was always the worst. I'm like, I better hang up. I can't keep doing it.
Yeah.
You would probably be cracking up as you're doing it, right, Ken?
There's a bit of that, and then I would do everything. I would use the Christian Bell soundboard, and then I would do a few other ones. Well, fuck. Answer. I do a few other movie characters, like some spy characters. The Schwarzenegger ones are just kind of really hard to do because it's just his voice is so recognizable. Listen carefully. I'm a cop, you idiot.
I just can't wrap my voice around anything except my own voice. So,
well, and if you're doing it again on the soundboard app, sometimes it wouldn't go through in the digital age. So I think this is it. Like, you had to ask the right people who were sound guys before you set it up, and you had to. That's just it. Just like with any comedy act, we don't encourage, but if you're gonna do a prank call thing, you have to pretty much list the rules and just say, okay, if this goes too far, this is when it's time to hang up.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to actually impact someone. And so I think that's just it. I think where a lot of comedians have gotten in trouble is they say stuff that could be very traumatizing if it was the wrong person. It's like, no, just do a few insults and then hang up.
Albert Brooks did a couple comedy albums, and there was second one, A Star Is Bought. Every track,
Star Is Bought.
Yeah.
every track was for a different type of radio station, and they had talk radio. But the talk radio segment, he did the people calling, and he was the host. So it was all him. That was kind of clever, I thought.
That's great.
I think I just saw that record up in Boston, The Star Is Bought.
Yeah, it's got like a photo of him inside, and you put it inside like a picture frame, and the back of the album cover had like a stand, so you could set it up like a picture frame.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're making me think of Bob Newhart doing his telephone sketch where he's on the phone with someone.
And his first album, he had Kooky Crazy Calls too, where he's doing little mini crank calls. But this is like early 70s, so yeah. I think he was making fun of the radio stations that did that, back then. So
I bet. Yeah, I mean, given how those pretty much who we hung out with.
Yeah.
And same kind of humor, someone who's doing just anti-comedy or just abstract, just you got to dig for kind of.
Well, in his movies too, there's a scene in Lost in America where he's still got his job at the beginning. The car salesman calls him trying to finalize the deal on the car he was going to buy. They're talking about the leather. They aren't vinyl. They're vinyl seats, not leather or something like that. But
Yeah.
actually, Albert was making the call to himself. That's kind of clever.
That's
and
great.
I think there's off-camera voices too. He's looking out the window at one point, and he hears two old guys talking. I'm pretty sure it's him doing the voices. Doctor says I'm losing the sight of my right ear or right eye. I can't hear you. It's his voice. He's just looking out. You see these old coots walking in the off camera or way out of the shot. It's him doing the voices. That's kind of clever.
Oh man.
But yeah, I've actually never heard the Jerky Boys, so I'm totally in this one.
What the fuck?
We've been stumping you this whole time.
Yeah,
that's right. That's all good.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening. It's a jacked up